Hello again. Next 25 minutes I will talk about another. Yes. So about the Copernicus program. We heard in a previous session that there are many satellites available. Of course, what we heard in a presentation about One Eye, these are very specialized, devoted satellites for optical imaging. But I will speak about the Copernicus. Copernicus is a European Union program which has a bit different philosophy and different role, and speak about opportunity of using of this data and services from this program. So first of all, we are, I think, all aware that Earth observation has opened up new horizons, so to say, in usage of spatial information. Not only new horizons in the fact that we got a new view on the data, but also new horizons in an amount of available data. And for the first time, we have a surplus of data. The data are not anymore lacking. Now there are plenty of data available. The challenge now is how to use those data. We are facing the problem that we cannot use them all, so how to use them for benefit for society. And in this context, standardization and STI have an even more important role. So, Copernicus is a program of European Union, we can say a flagship program, which is covering a wide spectrum of data collected from the Earth and around the Earth. So these data are not only images, these data are many others. So chemistry, atmosphere disasters. The major change and the major contribution of the Copernicus is the fact that the decision has been made that the data which are provided by Copernicus will be free of charge. So the data are available without any costs, without any charging. What is the difference to the commercially based satellite systems around the world, what we heard in the previous presentation? This was a very important decision because prior to this, if you wanted to use satellite data, in fact, you should either pay or you could use more or less outdated data. So for example, when we wanted to use Landsat data, they were available if they were old, maybe 5 or 6 or 7 years, so they were not updated, so they are not recent as such. And this is of course something with what we are not happy. We want to use data from yesterday. In fact, we want to use data from today to make some research, to make some management, to make some governance, to simply be successful and to make a proper decision. So this was one major decision. And then it has been also found out that the Copernicus, in such manner, should be a driver of economy, the driver for new economy based on the Earth observation data. And Copernicus is a very new development, in fact. The first idea, considering European Union to develop a system of Earth observation satellites, goes back just to 1998, so it's very recent. And the establishment of the system started in 2013, so just 6 years ago. So very recent, very new, and very modern system. what for this system is. Basically, beside collecting and making available spatial data, so Earth observation data, it should foster economy. So the calculations have been made, estimations have been made, which shows that expected benefit from 2008 till 2020 from the Copernicus was double the investment in the system. And this is always essential that you have to have some economical calculation in all of these activities you are doing, especially when we are spending public money. Then new jobs will be open, and there are various examples how we are benefiting from the system. But also some very concrete examples. For example, in Netherlands, they use Copernicus images to monitor pipeline infrastructure, making some 15 to 18 million euros savings. Forest management in Sweden benefiting some 20 million euros, or winter navigation in Baltic. For example, Sweden calculated that dependent on the winter, dependent on the thickness of the ice, the benefit could be between 24 till 100 million euro. Just some examples. And what is also important to stress is that Copernicus is not a commercial project in this manner, so it's user-driven. Basically, in the periods when the decisions are made, and these are in the European Union, the financial envelope periods, which take 7 years. So previous or recent one was 2014 till 2020. Next will be 21-27. Basically, member countries and interested parties, so-called user forums, express the needs, express what they would like the system should be devoted for. So it's a user-driven concept in which member states and interested parties define strategy, technical components, operational, and of course then also look for finances, how to finance such a project. To achieve system to function, a set of different satellites has been developed. So there are 6.5 in fact, types of the satellites which have different sensors on them. So comparing with the previously presented satellites, which have all the same function, here each satellite has a different function, and we have to say, and this is true, that Copernicus satellites are not most accurate satellites. This is well-known fact. So they are not, so to say, aimed to achieve the highest accuracy. They are aimed to achieve completeness. So to achieve such set of the information and measurements from the Earth, which allow us to interpret very many appearances and changes on the Earth and in the Earth atmosphere. So, for example, and this is the present situation, 6 satellites have been already launched, the first round, so to say, and now from 2020 till 21, you see 8 satellites will be launched, so the second package of the satellites will be launched, and then later idea, in accordance to the present idea, is that all the satellites will be doubled, so that today here each satellite consists out of each type of satellite consists out of 2 satellites, A and B, and after the please, yes, thank you. And And after these 8 satellites will be launched, a second package of satellites, you see, 2C, 2D, etc., should be launched sometime 2025, 26, 27. The satellites, as I told you, are different. So, for example, the first satellite, Sentinel-1, has a radar on himself. Sentinel-2 carries optical sensors, and they are, of course, because of these different sensors, they are aimed for different purposes. Yes. Then Sentinel-3, which has a medium resolution imaging and altimetry sensor. Sentinel-4 is for atmospheric measurements, so for measuring the chemistry of the atmosphere. Sentinel-5 there is one precursor because the satellites were a little bit delayed, and they are also for measuring the parameters in the atmosphere. And Sentinel-6, again, a radar altimeter as such. And all those data are combined with satellites, other satellite missions. So European Union or ESA, European Space Agency, basically is making agreements with many other space agencies from all around the world to exchange the data and to use those data for the purposes for various researches and analysis. For example, also the Egyptian Space Agency or Egyptian Authority has such agreement with European Space Agency about exchange of data. And third set of data are in situ data, so data which are collected on the Earth, so to say, or terrestrially, and they are used to validate and calibrate the Copernicus products and as additional reliable information service. And all of this results in 6 services. So land monitoring, marine environment monitoring, atmosphere monitoring, climate change, emergency management, and security. So these are the 6 services which are offered by Copernicus. And land monitoring is in a moment service which is used. Approximately 40% of data are used for land monitoring service, and we follow ecosystem, biodiversity. It's used for agriculture, forestry, energy, water, urban planning, etc. For example, based on those data, the urban atlas has been developed for more than 100 major European cities, which is freely available to anybody. Then we have a marine monitoring service for also a number of applications, so safety, marine resources, so following the fishery, coastal environment, marine environment, climate, etc. The atmosphere, the air quality is measured, the climate forces, ozone layer, solar radiation, and everything what is, so to say, bordering us, considering atmosphere and the changes in the atmosphere. The climate change, this is, as we know, a great challenge today, and brings us, creates very many worries to us. So therefore, there is a special set of instruments which are combined and enabling to follow those changes in the climate. So there is a set of essential climate variables which are estimated and followed, and any strategy which is related to the possible changes caused by the change of the climate uses those data, then global and regional analysis, and also seasonal forecasts and climate projections as such. This is also something what we have. And two, so to say, last services, they have a little bit of different role. So this is the for the emergency situations, the systems have been developed. For example, the countries, European Union countries, in the case of the emergency crisis, they can request inside of 24 hours that all available data are given to disposal to them for the purpose of managing of the crisis. Or another situation is that in a global crisis worldwide, the European Union is also making available those data or providing some maps or some images of the events so that those who are taking care about the response to this disaster can have better information and make better decisions. And finally, there is also the sixth service safety, which deals with the border surveillance, maritime surveillance, and supports external actions of European Union. Meaning also that so-called user uptake is slower than anticipated. So basically there is a gap between offer and users, how much they are using. So the idea is to promote, and therefore the Commission has recognized this problem, and a set of measures have been introduced to promote and to increase the user uptake. So these are the DASIS, Data Access Information Services. There are many promotional events. Then some financing options like Copernicus Accelerator. So if you have an idea, you can apply for financing to develop this idea, or Copernicus Incubator also, which when you have already a startup to support you, some trainings and session. For example, if you go to on the web page of the Copernicus, you will see that on 1st February there will be free massive open online course which has been specially developed about Copernicus. So Copernicus MOOC, and anybody can apply, and there will be also certificates issued at the end of this training. And then there are also Copernicus Relays and Copernicus Academy. This is a network of institutions which are supporting on academic level and on the business level, which are supporting the user uptake of Copernicus, and not only in Europe. So this Copernicus Academy and Relay members are worldwide, and I would here gladly invite also representatives of the Egyptian institutions to join this. In a moment there is no representative from Egypt, either of Copernicus Relay or Copernicus Academy. And then, additional to all those promotive activities, it has also been recognized that one of the major problems is that basically there is not enough professionals which are able to handle those data, who can deliver from those data, produce some applications, some results. And therefore, the focus has been also put on the education, and through the Erasmus program and also through Horizon 2020 program, basically actions and opportunities for projects have been open for academic institutions, for business sector, etc. So, considering my institutions, the Faculty of Geodesy, we are involved in a moment in several of those projects. One which has been finished, so this is just 2 months ago, the Best SDI project, and 4 which are running, and as you can see, they are the location where we execute those projects is different. So, oops. It's not me? Good. So, some projects in Western Balkans, then EU4G in European Union, and 2 new projects which will start on January 15th, one in Northern Africa, and so here, and one in Indian Marine. So just a few words about those projects. The best SDI is basically a project in which we have developed a new curricula on SDI, and for the academic institutions in Western Balkan. And the problem, what we, so to say, made to ourselves, because we wanted to introduce SDI not only to geodesy and geoinformatics faculties or students, but also to many other professions, because everybody has to have knowledge about it, because we are maybe providers, but these are the users, and they are applying SDI in various solutions in their work. The second project is another type project, so-called Sector Skill Alliance project, and this is a project which is running in the European Union. It's a 4-year project, some 4 million euros, a lot of organizations, and basically our task is to develop strategy and curricula in field of Earth space and geospatial sector to remove this gap between supply and demand. And we have to develop many things, so body of knowledge, platforms, series of curricula, training, etc., and a long-term sustainability plan. The Seed for North Africa is a project which combines previous 2 projects, so SDI and observation, and the idea is for the 4 countries, Algeria, Morocco, Tunis and Egypt, to work on development of curriculum which will cover SDI and Earth observation. The partners are Alexandria University and Fayoum University, and you see also the partners from the European Union, and this is our task in this project in the next 3 years, starting with January 15. And then we have, and there is this also project in Asia. It's a little bit different, it's about disaster management, but we are a partner in this consortium which is, so to say, in charge for Earth observation. We contribute in this part. So, all together, we can say that Copernicus as such is Earth observation program which has made a major change globally, because for the first time data are freely available, and not only data but a huge set of data accessible to everybody. And not only this, there is a huge infrastructure which supports the user uptake, which can be used by everybody, so globally. And in this context, really, Copernicus is basically the biggest system worldwide in the moment in regards to the Earth observation, and as such, please be free and use it. Thank you very much.